my guest today is Ambika Tiku Hathiari. Ambika, congratulations, and I'm so happy to host you on this show and to have you talk about your startup, MomSays, which is a platform for publishers, for authors who would like to publish. And thank you so much for what you do. And I'm keen for our audience to know more about your work and specifically how you got to making Mom Says. So, welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Um, Mom Says actually came out of a PowerPoint presentation that was used to make my daughter's book. I am not an author. Have no experience in publishing. I have been in the corporate world for a long time. And my daughter's play school required a specific book. I couldn't find one. I went to PowerPoint and I made one, got it printed, and then I thought to myself, maybe, if somebody wants to write a book which is not necessarily published, can I do so? Can I make it better? Can I have better artwork? Can somebody print it for me? And I actually started looking for something like that. I think Mom Says, in a sense, was my way of connecting with my daughter. Somewhere down the line, when I was writing that little book for her, she was barely 3.5 years old. I had to simplify it, but I wanted to say things to her the way I wanted to say to her. And that's very different from buying a book. That book actually was not so much of a book, it was something that I wanted to give her. It didn't start off with that intention. And that's how I think this whole idea of Mom Says came. So, Mom Says essentially is a platform, a digital platform for anybody who wants to make a high quality children's book, whether it's a parent, grandparent, father, mother, even children's book authors, teachers, stakeholders that are a part of a child's life. They want to actually, a book represents their value passing on to their children, their thoughts passing on to their children through storytelling. So that's essentially Mom Says. I never identified as a bookseller, a publisher. I never identified the business in my head also as something like that. That's why it's run very differently. It is it is an odd combination between self-publishing and traditional publishing, and I'll explain that in a bit. The idea being that books should mean more than just a story, and that's fine. I mean, we can have fantasy, we can have everything, but how? Because we live in a world where we are publishing every day. We're publishing unknowingly on Facebook our thoughts, our ideas. We started broadcasting so much, whether it's YouTube, TikTok. So why not a book? Why not something that's written by you for your child? A bit about the business model. It is
Yes.
basically a self-publishing platform. However, because it's for children, and I never wanted to run a business which was about gaining more customers without the responsibility of having vetted the content. So while we have a great revenue model for anybody who's self-publishing, to be to actually be published through Mom Says, you have to go through the editorial guidelines, and it's only when we vet the book will we publish the book. So you may have the money and you may have a story, but if we feel it's not good enough, we won't go ahead with it. So we've had we have turned down many books, and it's I don't know whether it's a self-publishing a platform, because I feel that I mean, out there you'll type self-publishing in India and you have many such companies who do that, right? But they don't ask you any questions. They'll give you author services, but the author service will not come back to you and say, guess what? Maybe this idea is not that nice for a child. Maybe you could do better with it. Uh, so, in that sense, Mom Says has taken best of both worlds, keeping the child in the center and empowering the stakeholders. This is not about making more books. This is about enabling, empowering without losing sight of the fact that at the heart of it is our children, and we like to keep the quality in check.
And in terms of the number of copies that a person can get, do you have some kind of
No, I think we have. So we've basically what we've done is over the years we've realized that print on demand works best for us.
Okay.
The cost of per copy is a little higher than volume printing, but one must understand that many of the people who make books with us are not. I mean, Katie Bagley is established as an author, so she sells more books, but a first-time author may not sell that many books. So we don't want them to kind of lock their money in inventory. So what
Okay.
we offer is print on demand, and they can go as little as 20 books, 25 books, 50 books, whatever they feel they want to do. So necessarily, it's not about. I think it's about getting your idea out there, giving it great artwork, ensuring the quality of content is there. Uh, we put it up on MomSays. We have a e-commerce enabled website, so you could sell through there rather than the sales are not as much as probably in Amazon, but then you will get lost in Amazon also. You're just one of the many.
Ah.
And within your own network, I mean, I've known, so while some books get published which you see on our website, many a times people make books for just themselves and they don't want to publish it, so they become like a gift for their child, a bag gift for their child's birthday party, a grandmother writing a book because her grandchildren are abroad, so she wants something Indian to go there. So we have those stories, fathers writing. I mean, I think I have had two fathers writing a book. One of them has written two books all with us, and they actually feel, because I've noticed that fathers are highly involved these days in the upbringing of their children, especially that father-daughter connection is very strong, and we've seen that they like doing it too. So while some books are published, some books just can be gifts, but the quality remains the same. The only difference is one gets sold, the other remains with you. There's absolutely no other difference. And depending on what you like to, how many books you like to print, order, we'll do that. It is not intended that it becomes like a burden on the author. So if you want to test something, it shouldn't be so difficult for you to kind of invest in it.
So, in fact, it's a today, because there is so much of interest in children and baby ecosystem. The whole ecosystem, whether it is in terms of brands, different kinds of products, like literally from head to foot, uh, school supplies, and even there's access to fantastic books. What you're doing, Ambika, is a very, very specific need, which says if a parent wants to say something to their child, then this is a way which is
Yeah.
very professional, curated, and something which brings in the expertise to self-publishing. So it doesn't look, it comes from with a
Yes.
professional finesse
Yes,
and a
and we
finish.
have we have established authors also publishing through us, because not everything they write goes through with the quote unquote traditional publishers. Because an author always has more than one story that they like to get published, right? So for them also, I mean, then because they already have an established network and they then have a ready book to sell, and given it's self-publishing, they know exactly how much they're investing and how much they go to the extent of deciding the MRP of the book. So they know exactly how much they'll be making, how many books are getting sold through them, through me. So for even established authors, it's a great way to actually get out your book without really having to go through the traditional publishing route, the process of waiting and vetting and all of that.
So in this startup journey, you when you started this, were you on a career break or were you working and you started this? I'm very curious to know.
Yeah, so I took a kind of a break. I think I've never been on a complete break, to be very honest. When my daughter was a year and a half, got back to consulting in the domain that I've always been in, which is basically marketing communications, specializing in digital media and those kind of businesses. And I was consulting at that point in time. So the good thing that happened was that because I was consulting and I was not full time working anywhere, I could pursue this. It took me a very long time to get this off the ground because
Mhm.
taking care of a toddler, a bit of consulting, and then to start a startup. on my own, with a lot of help from friends and my family. Uh, so yeah, it was kind of a bit of a culmination of everything coming together.
Now, this was 2015, right?
Yeah.
So it's 9 years. Tell us a little bit of, some of the highs of your journey. What were the times that you remember where you said, I'm so glad I did Mom Says, I'm so grateful to that play school that gave us this task?
I'll tell you, Deepa, I've had many highs during this journey. And those highs have not been monetary achievements in my head. Probably because I was never looking at it from the next big startup idea. For me, it was really extending the joy I felt and being able to translate it into a brand that promises that joy. And the greatest high I got was when I just bounced off this idea with my friends. Uh, Two of them wanted to write, two of them wanted to be a part of it in any way they could help, which they have. We've come a long way with the help of many friends and my colleagues. Uh, and also the fact that I could, I mean, I first time went to a store, I think you would know Kitab Khana. And I walked in there with Katie and I told him that I have these four books. I'm a new publisher, and would you consider keeping any one of them? And he looked at those books and he said, You know what? They don't have an ISB in Ambika. I said, No, I've just applied. I'm still learning. And they'll be, I'll get them soon and I'll get you the printed copies. So they said, your books are so fantastic. We're going to go ahead and keep them. It's okay. We'll track them somehow. They may not sell too much, but we like to have them. And I think that was a great boost to my confidence because here is a bookstore, they don't know me from anywhere. They're not like friends who are supporting my idea, but they loved what they saw. And um, and I think that was one. And there were two other high points actually. There was once at Nehru Center. Again, Nehru Center Library has been of a place where we kind of go often. We in fact run a very nice children's contest there every Children's Day, where we actually publish stories and poems written by children, and it is given free to all the children, winning children, and any school can ask for a copy for their library. So, Nehru Center, we were launching one of our yoga books, and I asked one of the children, "How do you like the book, and how did you like the event?" And he looked at me, "Auntie, are you the author?" I said, "No, I'm not the author, but I published this book, so I wanted to know what do you think." So he looks at me and he says, "Auntie, it says mom says, so whatever mom says has to be good only, no?" So
So sweet.
and for me, for 2 minutes, when the brand gets translated into an emotion, and I think that was very I mean that feeling was something that I probably cannot put in words, but I just felt that I was doing the right thing.
So beautiful.
So I think that kind of hit the nail on the head. That why did I do mom says? That kid validated it, why I did it. And I think that was again a high point for me. And one day I walked into one of the schools at a very well known school in Bombay, and I walked into the library, and they told me, why don't you have a look at the library? We were at Katie's event, one of Katie's events, and I went through the library, little expecting that some of my books will be there. So I had not sold it to them. No, none of the authors had sold them. They had gone on their own accord and picked it up from somewhere. I mean, I think Kitab Khana probably. So these are small victories, Deepa, but these are not. As I said, I've never thought of it. I think the greatest joy I derive is that when I feel that I have been able to successfully translate what I felt and believed in into something that people feel and believe in.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think that is something that a brand should do. And of course, we sell books. We make some money. We make some days we don't make money, but we are planned. We know how to go about things. So I think as long as I'm true to the idea, and my, I mean, I have. You were asking about the team, and so it's a very lean team. It was started by me. My husband has been an editor, so he kind of helped me with the editorial part of it. Uh, Rest of the team members who are on the website are all ex-colleagues who have been associated with this project since inception, continue to be doing so. And we have a bunch of illustrators, we have people who kind of print for us. These are all people who are illustrators, are all consultants. At some point they worked with us full time, sometimes they work as consultants, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the good thing is that we come together for a project, we come together for a book, and we give it our best. And I consider them my team regardless. They consider me as a part of their uh,
Yeah.
growth story. And so that's the way we are. We are quite lean, we all do what we do, but we come back, we come together to make something that we value deeply, so it works for us.
So how many projects do you have running at a time?
So currently, I just this currently this quarter, I have only one project running. We don't take on too much, Deepa, because we are a very small. I mean, I probably single-handedly manage many things, right? So it's very difficult to kind of sometimes take on work. But if the author is willing to wait, give them, we schedule it as per when and also we have certain illustrators we like to work with.
Okay.
So if they are busy, we like to kind of wait. So it's not a cutthroat kind of, I have to make 25 books in a year kind of a business.
Okay.
I don't think we'll ever be like that. But we do like taking on projects where we feel that we'll be able to do justice to it.
Okay.
If somebody is a little more aspirational and feels that they need a much because needs a bigger setup, then we very honestly tell them that this is the way we are, this is the way we function. But we've till now, I think we've never made a book uh, that has not been loved by the authors themselves.
Okay.
So I think that's another thing. We've got principals of schools who made books for us with us. We have teachers who made books. So it's been interesting. I mean, it's a startup, but it doesn't have the cutthroat startup culture.
You've done something very unique, yeah. And if you want to sort of say, what is it that would, have there been times when you sort of said, I wish I had this also, or I really want uh, visibility for Mom Says in this forum, because things have happened serendipitously for you, Kitab Khana, and top schools are keeping you. But is there something on your wish list, Ambika, that you'd like our
Oh,
viewers
of
to know?
course.
Yeah.
I would like a wider distribution
Okay.
because at the end of the day, no matter how much of an emotion I talk about, Mom Says is, it's at the end of the day it boils down to being a book. So I have to go by the rules of the business, and the rules of the business dictate that I need to have a wider distribution. I mean, that's, I think, one part of my business where we've not been able to make great headway because multiple business factors. I mean, the way we price it, the who's investing in it, it's the author's money, it's not my money, so it's a lot of many things that go into it. But yes, I wish we get a wider reach because I know that what we have, the quality of the books that we have resonate with people. And I hope that happens also for the authors because that then gives them such a big boost and confidence in making more books also. So distribution is one where I definitely uh, don't have the wherewithal as yet, and I have explored it, but somehow it's not fallen into place because it just doesn't fit into our business model.
And if I may, like, what kind of a premium do the Mom Says books uh,
They don't really have much of a premium in
Not
that
much
sense,
of a
Deepa.
premium. Okay.
Given that the quality of the book that we have, and given that the kind of content that we have, it's not very expensive. But now
Okay.
I don't know what very expensive for one person is and what it is. And on one hand, we are willing to spend a lot of money to buy foreign books, right? Which are way more expensive, but somehow we feel that they add more value to our children. But then on the other hand, there's so many good publishing houses. Forget Mom Says. In India, we have a range of authors